Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and the guys are here, and so am I. So let's get with it. Hello there, Cameron Riley. Long time no see.
Right? Hello, Sybil, or should I say Sybil?
Mais oui. And we'll explain that in a little bit.
Right, because all I got is yo.
Damon Williams, yo, how you doing?
What up, Sibs?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm glad to be home. I'll be home for a whole until next Monday when I go to New York to do a Sherry Shepherd show.
Okay, and the date of that show is Tuesday?
It'll air October 12th.
Okay.
I think.
Right.
Yeah. To be honest, I think I'm doing the later show that's show the next day.
Awesome.
But don't tell people.
No.
It's live.
Well, I'm glad that you're gonna be doing that. I know you and Sherry have formed a really great friendship and some collegiality amongst comedians and talented ones like yourself. So I'm really excited to see you on the stage there with Sherry.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be natural. It's two Chicago people talking about life and jokes. And after hanging out with her for the Kim tour for a few dates, we definitely got that bond you mentioned. And so I'm happy for her. I'm happy to do anything to lend my support, and as we all should, to keep that show not only on the air, but thriving at #1, because Sherry's a gem and we need to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. When I said to Cameron, long time no see, Cameron was a part of the crew that came from our What You Need to Know news crew, came to Dallas Fort Worth over the weekend. And we were together on Saturday at the State Fair Classic, handing out fans. And Cameron got a little damaged, but he managed to survive. And then Sunday, we all got together for a wonderful brunch and conversation at Yolanda's house, and so it was all good.
Definitely. Dallas really held it down at the State Fair. It was a very immersive cultural experience, and I really like Dallas. I like how politeness goes a bit longer of a way down there than it does here in Chicago. I really like how the people that I've met, especially the Black people, just felt like an instant sort of kinship. Not to mention the food. I tried the fried cheesecake. Everything after that, I believe I went into a coma. But I woke up feeling satiated and satisfied.
Awesome. Well, that is great. Well, we were glad to have you. And actually, Damon, for most of us, it was the first time that we all saw each other in person.
Wow.
Not virtually.
Exactly.
And so it was a good time. It was an opportunity for us to have some fellowship and all of that. And it was fun. We were there for the State Fair Classic, of course, the HBCU football game of Prairie View versus Grambling.
And blowout,
that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was, and of course, as well as anybody else, you only stay until halftime. And once the halftime show is the mass exodus takes place, right?
Yeah, especially on the blowout game.
Yeah, exactly. And but as Cameron said, there's nothing like the HBCU football games and the family, and everybody was just so nice, and you didn't, even if you bumped into somebody, it's like, oh, no worries, it's all
especially
good.
in Texas. They love their football in Texas.
Yeah,
the high school games can shut down traffic. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they don't call it Friday Night Lights for nothing, even if it is on a Thursday night. But it's a lot of fun, and congratulations to Al Wash on another successful venture there with the State Fair Classic. And I'm sure records were set not only in the Cotton Bowl itself in the football stadium, but at the State Fair itself. It was quite It was quite a scene. Yeah, this is the first weekend, and it was really something. So if you haven't had a chance to go to a football classic, we're going to be making the rounds over the next several weekends. I know we go to Huntsville, Alabama this weekend.
And got family down there.
You do?
Yeah.
Don't we all?
I was going to say Mississippi or Alabama. It really is. That's pretty much those are our people.
Yes.
That's where your cousins live when their mother was fast and got sent down south.
and so fast that she never came back.
Exactly. That was so stupid. They used to send the little fast tail girl down south like there were no penises in the south. She a hot fast tail girl. She got to go down south. Yeah. Okay. End up with 6 kids.
Right. Exactly. All right. So let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. That is our Monday through Friday edition of informing and empowering people. It is absolutely free. If you'd like to subscribe, please go to SybilWilkes.com. Just give us your name and your email address, and it'll be in your email box every Monday through Friday morning, first thing. And we'd also like you to take a look at a number of the stories. Khameron is one of our political contributors, as well as some of the other youngins. We have social justice with Coy Malone, and we have LGBTQ plus options there with Khameron's sister, Quinn Townsend Riley. And a new addition is Aprilette Russell. And she is writing about mental health and wellness. And so, and then of course, Cherie White has always been keeping us up to date and in the health challenge that many of us have, but keeping us trying to lead healthy lives. All right,
I don't want to step my foot in it, but y'all need a message from the OG segment on the newsletter. I think I'm gonna start writing stuff and send it to you. If it works, use it.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
We got all the millennials. Message from the OG, because they OG the hell out of me everywhere I go now. These comedians, I'm OG, double OG, triple OG. They bring me up like, you may have seen him in Nazareth when Jesus, when Moses parted the sea, he was on the other side.
OG was there.
Man, I appreciate the homage, but it's like, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so I'm gonna write that down and take notes and a message from the OG, words from the OG. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Absolutely.
It'll be periodical though. I don't want to get caught up on no deadline.
Okay. No, it won't be regular.
Right, tales from the road, or maybe the streets, or probably in the house. But I'll start it.
Okay, I love it. Khameron, let's go to you for your regular column there and talking about politics. An interesting topic, especially as we are looking at the new Supreme Court as of Monday with the arrival of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, but also some interesting looks at the topics that they are going to address and those that they choose not to. And you're looking at one that they said, no, thank you.
Yeah, Sybil, of course, we've had beef with the Supreme Court in the past with the way that they had just struck down Roe. Previously, people had accused the court of being partisan, forwarding their conservative agenda. But in a very highly conservative issue with regards to gun rights, the Supreme Court actually abstained from hearing an appeal case with regards to the ban on bump stocks. And for those of you who don't keep them things on you, a bump stock is a device that allows your rifle to, instead of going blah blah blah, it goes bra-ta-ta-ta. Okay.
Right.
So does it make an automatic even more automatic?
Yeah, it goes from semi to full.
Semi to full. Okay.
Yes. The ban on bump stocks came in 2019 when the Orange Klansman himself acted after a mass shooting in Las Vegas, when a shooter with a semi-automatic weapon had a bump stock, turning it into automatic, and killed 58 people and wounding hundreds of others. Now, the issue arises when the ATF, the Task Force on Firearms and Explosives, said that anything that uses a bump stock is classified as a machine gun and therefore is illegal. This particular case argues that the ATF does not have the authority to interpret laws. And the Supreme Court decided to abstain from this decision, therefore keeping in place that bump stocks are banned. the reason why this is such an interesting decision is because not only did the Supreme Court abstain from the hot topic debate of gun violence, but they're also sort of allowing federal agencies to interpret and therefore advance laws.
Wow, taking the rights away from the states and making those decisions.
Yeah, it's we're encroaching on some pretty laws can be interpreted as such kind of territory here.
It's dicey.
Very dicey. Now let's, of course, harken it back to the FBI, who created laws in the COINTELPRO program that said that this is a Black identity extremist. These people are therefore illegal. These people do not deserve due process of law. We really need to be careful on who gets to decide what. Now, thankfully, Joe Biden urged the Supreme Court to abstain from this issue. Thankfully, we can consider this a win for families and all the victims of gun violence. But also, Sybil, I want us to think about that. Even though bump stocks are banned federally, I am pretty sure that someone around the corner from me has a cache of bump stocks. In the form of...
and so, like ghost guns, they will just show up and kind of find their way into a person's artillery.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, hopefully the penalties for that will be excessive, since that'll be the only hindrance they have not to have them.
Yeah.
Hopefully. When it comes to me and gun rights, I feel that no one should have access to any weapon that completely eviscerates a victim to unrecognizable proportions.
Sure. Yeah. And I feel the same way about animals. I don't think you need an automatic rifle, an AR of any sort to go out and kill animals for sport or whatever you choose to do. Just by the same token, an 18-year-old should not have a hold of those things either. There's so many different ways we can look at this whole weaponry situation, but do you think that that they'll take it back and try to, retry this in another court, or do you think they'll be dormant for a while?
Well, now that the Supreme Court denied the appeal, of course, you can appeal as many times as you want to.
Right.
But the precedent has been set, and typically the lower courts like to honor precedents just to clear off their docket. So hopefully we don't see this in this form anytime soon. And and bump stocks ever again for that matter.
Right. This was a horrible situation in Las Vegas, where a man just brought an ish load of weapons into this hotel and camped out there, and from his hotel room window opened fire on innocent people at an outdoor concert. And as you said, killing over 50 people. And it was as a result, he was able to set the weapons with the bump stocks and just have at it, which is just a horrific thought of all those people who were killed and the many wounded as a result of this, which makes me I'm very nervous and jittery about outdoor events, indoor events, and anything, because of all these things that these horrible thoughts that people have to kill other people, and but I'm glad that this conservative, even though they are seemingly expanding the Second Amendment rights, Khameron, this was an interesting choice to make.
Yeah, especially considering that we've got a mostly conservative Supreme Court. And for those who are still kind of like wondering what the difference between Democratic and conservative are, the conservatives typically want the government to make as few decisions as possible to prevent any federally regulated entity from interpreting any sort of laws. So Joe Biden campaigned on being able to reach across the aisle and, swoo conservative majority he'll probably chalk this up to another chip on his shoulder, and we'll probably hear back from him about it in 2024.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
If he remembers.
Wow. So moving on, speaking of President Biden, he did remember the people of Puerto Rico and went to visit the island and told them that we're here for you. We're with you. And as he told the Congressional Black Caucus at their big dinner Saturday night, the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's Phoenix Awards, he said, we owe Puerto Rico a hell of a lot more than they've already gotten. And so he made good on his promise 2 weeks after Fiona wreaked havoc on the island of Puerto Rico, the U.S. territory. He and the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, went, and he also brought some money with him. He promised them $60 million, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't seem like a lot, quite honestly. But
yeah, but it's more than tossing a roll of paper towel.
It's more than tossing. Yeah, exactly. And that is a reminder that these people still on this island who are a part of a U.S. territory, have not fully recovered from Maria, which was 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And as you might imagine, there were some feelings, folks were feeling, as you can say, some kind of way about the fact that all of the attention seemingly was going to the state of Florida and then up the coast as a result of Ian. But he did go, he did make good on a promise to bring some money and not only to help people get back on their feet, but to help them prepare for the next, because there will be a next and a next and another and a next.
Yeah, the infrastructure there needs to be reinforced. Yeah. And that's what the people were complaining about. But they really can't, they have to almost understand with Florida getting the attention because Puerto Rico is annexed. It's like, it's like you go over here and your son live here and then he got a brother, but it ain't your son,
Break it down, Damon.
My son gonna get them Jordans. My son gonna get them Jordans. You get what's on sale. You tell your father to send a check. But anyway, so basically Puerto Rico is a stepchild.
Yeah, and that is the truth, and that's exactly what they say. That's the way they feel. And but we've got to make sure that they don't even, even in terms of the way that they are represented in our Congress, they're not. Right. The Virgin Islands, St. Thomas is recognized in the U.S. Congress, but not Puerto Rico. So I would like to see them continue to do right by them, but you're right. It's that stepchild of the U.S. It's not at the contiguous, and certainly not as a full state, still as a territory.
And then they got a whole different language. It's bogus. Of course, I'm joking. I'm making light of it, but have we ever heard anybody talking about for Puerto Rican independence?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. And so, but. They feel pretty independent now, but they need great leadership in order to extend that independence, because what they have now in terms of their governors and mayors and what have you, they are feeling lost. And especially when it comes to restoring the power and the electricity, the electricity and the running water that many people are still suffering from now weeks past.
Has anybody in Puerto Rico been brought up on charges of corruption or misuse of funds?
There have been those in the past.
I thought I might have heard that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's why they're looking for the patronage of the United States government to really kind of help them out of this. But, we have that in so much of our own states and what have you. So Puerto Rico is an interesting place. It's a lovely place to visit, but they really need a lot of our help. And I hope that the president will keep his promise and continue to go back and to help them. I wanted to talk to you guys about this other particular piece in the newsletter today. And this is the wellness check. And it asks, what is your tongue telling you? In addition to going to your doctor, examining your tongue can give you a sneak peek into your health. And it
can also tell you your partner's hygiene. But go ahead. That's a salty neck.
So please take a look at that in the What You Need to Know newsletter. And you can, it tells you.
You taste like outside.
Yeah.
The newsletter, yes, the newsletter.
Please take a look at the wellness check in the newsletter, and it tells you about the healthy tongue, what it looks like, and the following areas of the tongue or correlate to certain parts of your body, which I thought was very interesting. All right,
definitely want a bumpy tongue. Okay.
No.
You know, or Bumpy Johnson. So
I know a guy named Bumpy Johnson.
See? That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Nobody wants to see a Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, from what I hear, he's not well liked.
No. Ladies, stay away from the Bumpy Johnsons.
Yep, keep your tongue away from the Bumpy Johnsons.
Now it's time for the question of the day.
Cheers to that.
What's going on? And one of the recent national days was National Hair Day. And so, and I thought of this in light of, and I don't know if she'll come. No, don't go, Damon. Please come back. I promise you're going to be a part of this conversation.
Okay.
I don't know if she will come on camera to show us her new hairstyle, but I thought of Yolanda Starks-White, our executive producer, when I decided to make this our question of the day.
Hey. Look at her.
This is something.
You look like royalty from House of Dragons.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I haven't seen House of Dragons. Don't make me Google, Damon.
They are beautiful people. They're brown, but they have the flowing blonde locks like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Damon, you know I've been bald for most of the time you've known me.
And so have I. I think that's how we bonded when we first met. Hey.
So next Tuesday?
Uh-huh.
Back at it. Different. It's gonna be different. She'll be back to
what are you gonna do?
Oh, the challenge.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were saying you're gonna get rid of those next Tuesday. I was gonna say, let me get them.
All right,
so I can look like royalty from House of Dragons.
Thank you, Yolanda. So the question is, what's your favorite hairstyle for yourself of all time, or one that you would like to try or bring back, Damon?
Any of them.
So National Hair Day encourages folks to let your hair be your crowning glory. And if you're follically challenged, let your imagination go wild with what you'd like to have or a style from your past you'd like to revisit. So that is our question of the day as we are looking back at National Hair Day. Talk about your hair. Talk about the style that you have, what you like about it or don't like, what you want to try, something different. Like Yolanda went way like 180 degrees from where she once was with the new hairstyle that we just saw for the first time a few minutes ago. So that is our question of the day. We'd like our listeners and our viewers to chime in and tell us about your hair if you have challenges, but I really would like to know about their favorite hairstyles or those that you would like to visit or revisit from your youth.
Like they say, most men keep the hairstyle that got them the most action. So that's why you might see somebody right now with a really dark high top fade, and he's 71.
And knowing that he has somebody who just places that on his head.
Man, right, exactly. It's showtime. Hang on to your seat at the Apollo.
With this is also an opportunity for you to give a shout out to your hairstylist. It might be yourself if you do your own hair, but for most of us, going to somebody to give the stylist that takes care of your hair, gives you a great new style or whatever. This is an opportunity to do that.
Well, Khameron, I'm gonna plead to India RE. I am not my hair, okay?
No, you are more than your hair, or what your hair used to be.
Oh, yeah, you were going to address Khameron first. Go ahead.
No. But I do want to know from you.
Okay, well, let me give it to you. I have 3 different eras.
Okay, give us the first one.
Damon
the first one was attempting to grow a fro when the Jackson 5 were out.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And my brother had this big old Foster Silvers afro. Right. And my sister had long flowing hair. And I had that hair from the 60s. Y'all remember the hair? I had the hair from Sounder. You remember when everybody had nappy hair with the little BB shots? If you didn't,
at the neck, yeah.
So then the fro came out, and they was doing blowouts, so you had to try to blow them out. And then they would braid or plait them, as they used to say, and then your fro would grow. Well, my hair wasn't long enough to braid, so I just had these little buckwheats, these little twists. I might have had the first twist in the history of hair. And so my fro never quite froed. Okay, that's era one. Then
so let me ask you this about the fro. Did you ever get to a point where you were like, this is as good as it's gonna get, and I'm gonna be okay with it?
Yeah, because eventually I got a little growth.
Okay.
Got a little bit, but it was after I got a perm. Because if y'all know, my pops used to have, they had the curly kids.
Right.
I didn't have that. I had a full-blooded Superfly. So in 8th grade, my principal said you can't have that hairstyle and walk across the stage for graduation. And I was the class president, so she was going to take away my speech. So I had to get the vinegar and strip the perm out. I don't know if people know about that. They used to say you could strip out your perm, so it went into instead of a draping little butters, it became a little curly little fro. So I froed up.
Okay.
Perfect.
There was the fro.
Boom. Then, so that's two, the perm and the fro. Then when I got to high school, I cut it off and did the Murray's grease and the waves. Yeah. And I became known for the waves. They used to call me Silky because I had the pomade, right?
Gucci
After
D.
that, yeah, Gucci. No, Gucci D was the high top box, but that's when things were starting to get a little suspect.
Was it thinning?
In the Gucci era, my brother, I never forget, he said, "Hey, bro, your high top is fading fast." And that's when I went out and got the spray to fill in the blanks. They had the spray. I don't know if y'all remember that in the early 90s, had a commercial. And the reason why I got rid of the spray, because it worked, because I had a friend who was a hairstylist. She would apply it and put like hold this spray, and it would be all right even in the rain. Just telling you. But one day I had the spray in, and I'm at All Jokes Aside Comedy Club, and I'm laughing with a bunch of comedians in the hallway. And I told a joke, and I was like, ha ha, boom. And my head hit the wall, and it left a black dot. So when they saw that, they're like, ah! Everybody knew
that was it for you.
I had to let it go. The fact that the Jamario comedian took me on a 16-day Southern comedy tour as his opening act, and I couldn't find. I want barbers around the country to know I was sprayed up. So I shaved it off, and I've never been back. It was the best thing I've done in a long time.
Really?
Yeah, because you hate to have to chase your barber. The barbers treat you like, like y'all dating or something. Hey, man, I'm busy right now. That whole, because once you get a good barber, you lock in with him because he know your moves,
Right.
Yeah, and I say that $30 a week, and ta-da. But now, last thing. Just the other day, I was down in the Memphis area, I suppose, where I know I was in the South. I was on an elevator. There was two kids, and they had these tremendous locks, and they had colors in them. But they were little boys, like 9 and maybe 11. Little disrespectful bastard. So they was looking at me, and when they got off the elevator, as soon as the door closed, they said, "What your bald head ass?" And
Cowards.
Because they was giggling in the elevator. Then they got off. "Oh, bald head ass!"
I would hit that button so fast. Say it to my face, boy.
Right.
Oh,
I got it. I said, "Your mama."
And Damon, you're also lucky that you have a nice smooth head, because a lot of people have tried it.
The Scottie Pippen. Scotty had his Scotty braid on the outside. He had to cover that right back up.
It was very thin covering for the.
He looked like Mega Man when he shaved his head.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Right. Exactly right. Khameron, we're going to come to you. I want to know about your hairstyles and your choices over your lifetime. Yolanda, do we have any people who have So Walker Z Walker is saying that the locks. You like the locks?
Yeah.
You're happy with them?
That was the best era.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Charlie Currents on Facebook says the fro. Definitely the fro. And if that's and Barbara Ferguson says, bring back the mushroom. Oh no, not the mushroom.
My wife always like, ooh, she wearing a mean mushroom.
Right. There's nothing like that compliment.
Dorothy Hamill.
Right. Amy W says, I like wearing my box braids with gray ombre hair. I'm not big on the ombre, and my and the lady that does my hair is like, oh, you should try. No, I'm not big on ombre, but I've seen it on people and it looks really good. It just
Can you tell us what the ombre is?
It's the hair color changes. You might start darker here and then it gets lighter as you go down.
So it's not a mean Mexican.
No, senor.
Not an ombre? Oh, okay.
Ombre.
Oh, okay.
Shirley Ann Tony Davis on Facebook says, I'll keep my natural hair. However, I would like to have twists. So consider it. And then you can be like Yolanda. If you don't like it, come back from your latest trip and take it out. Bring back the Jerry curl, says that girl on YouTube.
She lied.
Okay. So you're nodding there, Khameron. Ever have the Jerry curl?
No, I didn't have the Jerry curl. I did have cornrows for a very sustained portion in my life.
Sustained, like how many years?
It was about 2.5 years or so.
Okay.
But I had this massive fro in 3rd grade.
Don't tell that to Damon. That's not the time.
Well, Damon, I want to offer you a bit of I want to offer you a bit of an olive branch, because I too am beginning to recede, and I also must acquire the spray from my barber, of whom I am in a very deep relationship with. Shout out to AC, the Breeze. AC is so good that sheiks fly him out so that he can cut their hair.
Shut up.
Yeah, he cuts hair on private jets.
So you got to get in where you fit in with this dude, huh?
Yeah, and also to your point, Damon, haircuts are not $30 anymore. Haircuts are $80.
Wow. Yeah, you got the wrong barber, homie. I need that. You got your clippers. This man is paying $80. My wife is retired hairstylist.
He exfoliates. He skin treatments. Damon's like,
that's a whole. Yeah, that's next level. But you come around here, if you pay 80, we'll get you a 50 ball easy. You baby, they paying $80 for haircut.
And if you follow Juanita, she can really style great hair. So with a nice with the clippers and everything, you might consider heading over to Damon's crib.
When is she next? I don't know if I can deal with the dogs though. But when is she next available? Because it's definitely starting to creep. I actually like lumberjack Dusty Cam, but that is not what brings all the girls to the yard. That is not what stirs the milkshakes, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you better stick with homie, man, because my wife will not be consistently doing it. That's for sure. We'll be over there with your barber before you look up.
Right, or going to check out the things that Damon came in Damon and all that, wherever.
November 11th, we're back.
Okay. Well, I would like to give a shout out to the ladies that have done my hair for the last however many. One just quit, and I had to find somebody else. The pandemic got to her, and she just quit. But she was moving in that direction, and I found her a place where she could, just go and rent a booth for a couple hours so she could do my hair. And eventually she said, I just can't do this anymore. I can't.
Yeah, that's what happened to my wife. Matter of fact, there's a hair salon that closed next door to Riddle's. Mm-hmm. And I took pictures. I'm like, you want to get the salon? And blah, blah, blah. She's like, ain't nobody doing salons no more. People go and they get a little sweet. They in and out, blah, blah, blah. And I don't even want to do that. So Khameron, stick with your homie because that's what it is these days.
So, Lynn, I understand. I know it's a tough business, and I miss you. As a matter of fact, I texted her the other day, and the lady that does my hair now, Misty, I appreciate her so much and taking.
So, what was your favorite era? of your hairstyle?
You know what it was? When I had a weave with the Janet Jackson look off the Velvet Rope album. I love the curly weave that I had, and that was a lot of fun for me.
How did I miscontrol Sybil? She said, "I just said it was Velvet Rope, fool."
But that's okay. You know, maybe you just like the policeman look. I don't know. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And the red hair. I had Matador red, and that was a lot of fun too. Yeah, not good for your bed sheets, but
your pillowcases, right?
Oh man. So thank you so much for participating on National Hair Day. Thanks, Yolanda, for sharing your new style, which we will probably not see into the next week. But I absolutely do like it. All right, it's time to talk trending topics. Let's talk about what's going on. And Damon, let's start with you. You said you're home for a little while. Where are you going?
Yes, I'm home, but I'm actually, this is going to be a momentous weekend at Riddles because the Bernie Mac official foundation is using Riddles to celebrate, which would have been Bernie's 65th birthday. So all of the comedians are coming out that are in Chicago. Reggie Reg, who is a master impersonator and did the voiceover for Bernie's audiobook, will be performing along with just so many others. So we're going to have a ball at the club. I'm home. I get to stay home. Then I leave on the 11th, which I believe is Tuesday, to go to New York to do the Sherry Show. The 12th through the 14th, the Men Excel conference in Maryland. Then on the 15th in Maryland, in Bowie, Maryland, with Joe Claire, banging in Bowie at the Bowie Event Center. And then on the 16th, I'm in Louisville at the Louisville Comedy Club. It's a new comedy club, 2 shows, and that's a Sunday night. So that whole run takes place during that. Leave there, go over to Edmonton again, and then come back for a men's conference here in Chicago the 21st and 22nd.
My goodness.
Boom.
Wow. And it's all up here.
Yeah, because it all adds up.
Now, Edmonton, you go to Edmonton a few times a year, maybe?
Yeah, we used to do it 3 times a year. Then we scaled back, and then, of course, COVID shut it down. So now October is their long weekend for Thanksgiving. They have their Thanksgiving in October. And what our motto has always been, the day before, the day after the holidays or whatever. So we're going from that comedy club we used to do. We're in an event center this time.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's called the Wind Spear. I got Tony Roberts, Just Niche, and a brother from Edmonton, Sterling. And it's going to be great. So I'm looking forward to it. But awesome. The crazy part is the conference the next day is a daytime conference. So I have to catch a midnight flight from Edmonton to get back in time to do that the next day.
That is a true red eye. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, strong man. Khameron, what about you? What's going on?
So many things. So for my UIC related positioning in community affairs, I have been graced with the opportunity to manage UIC's community center that is in the site of the MLK Legacy Apartments. This is where Martin King lived and organized. So I will be activating that space with all sorts of programming and organizing. And there's this
comedy shows.
Well, I mean, Damon,
conscious comedy. We'll do those.
I mean, I gotta catch Damon when he's back in Chicago.
Yeah. Word. Okay. All you gotta do is book him. He will be there.
We'll talk about it.
All right, cool. You got to get me on this men's conference too, man. I don't know. You keep something from me too.
Not a problem.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's the UIC thing. I'm also still in pre-production for my film Coronary Artery coming out next fall. The stage reading of Coronary Artery, the play, is going to be December 11th and the 12th. It's a Saturday and a Sunday. You'll be able to experience what happens when a city neglects its public service and how that disproportionately impacts the mental wellness of Black families.
Wow. And obviously people can follow you both. I can see your handles there on social media. So definitely busy fellows, keep up with them. I'm headed back to DC, and I'll be there, and then going to the football classic in Huntsville, Alabama on Saturday.
Are you big on Ghanaian food, Sybil?
I'm sorry?
Do you like Ghanaian food?
I've not. You know what, Khameron? I've tried a number, mostly Ethiopian, some Nigerian, but I don't know about Ghanaian. Is that what your family has in Alabama?
In Alabama, there is other pork chops and potatoes and eggs.
Got it.
In abundance. But there's this great Ghanaian food place. I'll text you the name of it.
Okay. Absolutely. This is in DC.
This joke back in the day about Ethiopian food, but I'll save it.
You can't do that
now,
right?
Well, the joke was I went to DC the first. That's where I saw an Ethiopian restaurant. I'm like, what is Ethiopian food? I thought they were starving in Ethiopia. A hot bowl of nothing. What the hell is Ethiopian food? I couldn't believe I saw Ethiopian food. I'm like, well, what would that be? Okay, I'm sorry.
You know why? I can't. I just can't. But I love
it. It was my actual honest reaction, and I shouldn't have set it up by telling y'all it used to be a joke because it's actually I was like, what the hell? But I've come to find out the cuisine is magnificent.
Absolutely. I'm
limited.
big with eating with my fingers, though.
Right.
And everybody, the collective group.
No, I love it because you can use both hands. It's anyways.
Didn't your mama teach you to keep one hand on your lap and to eat with the other one?
Yes, I'm actually quite well mannered. But
okay, that's what I thought. Okay, but you like to go and okay.
I bet you when you eat, I bet you put your elbows on the table too when you eat Ethiopian, don't you? that was always
every excuse.
That was the no. My mother would not let you put an elbow on that table.
Right, exactly right. Elbows off the table, please. So check this out, you guys. Aretha Franklin was tracked by the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, and the FBI for 40 years.
She was on a watch list?
She was watched and tracked for decades.
Wow.
Because of her relationship, they said, to extremists. Now, we knew about Martin Luther King. We knew about H. Rap Brown and all the people and the various forms of social justice. They tried and failed for decades to tie her to extremists from 1967. Check this out, to 2007.
Wow.
That brings freedom.
Come on.
Freedom.
That's all the way up to almost inauguration of Aretha.
Yes.
Yeah. You know how many hats they went through? Is that her? I don't know. Are you sure? Looks like her. That's a hat. But that's a fact because my daughter, my son's older sister, Christiana, had it. They're both very active in the streets. They're both. After Mike Brown and Ferguson, she took her car in because it was making a noise, and there was a tracker on her radiator that the feds had installed on her because they've been tracking. And even before that, because she was radical in elementary school, I think she was probably banned from the 8th grade trip. She didn't pass the background check to go to Washington. Yeah, for her 8th grade graduation trip. She was on a watch list.
Down in airports every single time.
Really?
Every single time. It never fails. It's
so no matter where you're going.
No matter where I go, some man is describing to me how he's going to extensively fondle my genitals. Now
at this point, Khameron, maybe you're just cute.
and
you gotta dress down in these airports, man. you gotta look funky. You gotta come through there. Right. Don't go see your chic barber. Don't get exfoliated. Right. Come through their cave, man, and they'll stop flirting with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna try that next time.
Some nice gentleman always wants to pat you down.
So check this out. For 40 years, the Federal Bureau of Investigation methodically collected information about the Queen of Soul using false phone calls, surveillance, infiltration, and highly placed sources, according to documents obtained by the Rolling Stone magazine. Her FBI file, first requested via the Freedom of Information Act, is 270 pages long. That's really not a lot when you consider 40 years. I guess, but phrases like black extremist, pro-communist, hate America, radical, racial violence, and militant black power, overflowing with suspicion about her work, and the other activists and entertainers with whom she spent time. And of course, we know what, a sponsor she was of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Her dad was, Reverend C.L. Franklin was big in the movement as well.
Yeah, but 270 is a lot because you don't want 2 pages of FBI files.
True. But I'm thinking for 40 years.
Yeah, but she didn't move around a lot. So, I mean.
And maybe she slowed down after
she didn't fly. She was scared to fly. Okay. So, yeah. All they have to do is check the bus schedule. So that's once every couple months they check our little bus schedule.
They put a tracker on the Greyhound. And,
exactly. Toward the end,
I just thought that was fascinating. For 40 years, right up until President Obama was elected, that's exactly when it pretty much stopped, right?
And that's so ridiculous. Because, crazy. Come on.
That's crazy. It says that Marvin Gaye had a brief 6-page file, which details an incident that followed him not being paid for a concert.
What's going on?
You can count.
Right? Jimi Hendrix had a file, including documents related to a pot bust they had in Canada. Miriam
While I Kiss the Sky.
Makeba, the anti-apartheid activist, was married to Stokely Carmichael, had a 292-page file, which details their every move, including buying new home appliances.
Well, you can believe Aretha has some "he ain't got my money" in that file too.
Yeah,
because I have a story when Star Plaza Theater, which we did New Year's Eve every year. The bookers there were good friends of mine. Charlie Blum, shouts out to Charlie. He told me a story that every time Aretha came, you had to have her money in cash. Yep. And you had to sit there and watch her count it before she would perform.
Yep. Members of Reach Media can also attest to that.
Absolutely. And he said, as a side note, while I'm sitting there watching her count the money, I happened to look over to my right, and this is a quote, and I saw the largest brassiere I've ever seen. He said brassiere. He said, I saw the largest brassiere I've ever seen hanging on the chair. He said, I couldn't even focus on the money because of this large brassiere.
Was it hanging from the chandelier?
No, it was covering the sofa. But let me tell you, Aretha, when she sets up shop, she has a crock pot. She's in her dressing room hours after the show.
Yep.
So I had a chance to take my mother backstage the last time she came here for Chicago Theater. My mother, Juanita, she had a pot, she had snacks, she had all types. But so I just kept thinking about Charlie. So I'm looking for this gigantic.
You got there before the unsnap time, didn't you?
When he said brassiere, though, I lost it.
I mean, he was talking.
He's a white guy. He's like, I saw the largest brassiere I've ever seen in my life. It was all over the couch.
Covered.
And the love seat. And covering her shoes. It's the largest brassiere I've seen in my lifetime. I'll never forget it. I just turned Charlie into a vaudeville guy. Let me tell you, it was the largest brassiere. Step right up.
How are you?
See the largest brassiere.
Step right up, ladies and germs.
Step right up. The amazing man with monkey hands and the world's largest brassiere. Riri with the magic brassiere.
You gotta tell that story to Tom because we used to have a rule. We couldn't
make
any jokes about Aretha.
That's why I never told him. This happened while we were still on the show. Yeah. There are no Aretha jokes.
There were never and there were a lot to be had, Khameron.
Oh my God. Jay Anthony got the worst Aretha joke.
Oh. But we could
I'm not even gonna do it.
We couldn't even do it off air, Khameron.
Nope. You don't want to hear it.
He was like, nope, shut it. Stop it.
Yeah,
not about Mama Soul, not about the Queen, not.
But if y'all ever get a chance to see Jay, or if you want to DM or ask him about his Aretha Franklin's fur coat joke.
Oh my God.
That's all I got to say.
Oh my God. Yes. And I think that pales in comparison to the brassiere.
I don't know. It's pretty rough. All right. Just think Revenant, that movie. All right.
What?
Do you know the movie The Revenant?
Yes.
Do you remember when he had to crawl inside the body of the carcass?
I remember that.
We getting off track. What's else going on in the newsletter? I'll tell you later, Karen.
We've run out of time.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, in that case, let me tell the joke. He said no.
So we are up against the clock, and as if we haven't had enough entertainment, it is now time to move to entertainment. And this just really fascinated me, and it might just be me, but here's my deal. Every day, I like to say that I want to learn something and I want to laugh. Obviously, you all provided the laughs for me today. Now, the thing that I learned was following the announcement of the death of Loretta Lynn, the country music star, died at the age of 90. One of the queens of country. She was in the business for 50 years. I had a Hall of Famer, all of that kind of stuff. And you're thinking coal miner's daughter and things like that. But here's the thing that I learned that I thought was fascinating. She was the woman with the most banned songs on country radio.
Wow.
She had 14 songs that
they just couldn't play.
That the country music refused to play. Country music radio refused to play. And it started in 1975 with a song she wrote called The Pill. And it was about married women finally having the freedom and celebrating the freedom of the invention of the pill, which afforded them to not have any more children if they chose. And they didn't want any more. And so the lyrics they said they weren't particularly salacious or anything like that. But they reported that one minister decided that he was going to preach against the pill, Loretta Lynn's music, The Pill, the song. And they said what it did was just pique people's curiosity. And they tipped out of church and found a record store and went and bought it. They said at one time, it was selling 15,000 copies of this song per week.
Wow. You said nothing salacious. I was trying to figure out if she had something like her milkshake brings all the boys to the barn, or come on, creep in this creek. I don't know what, but she was socially conscious.
She was socially conscious, and 14 songs of hers were ultimately banned. And she was like, okay, that just means people are going to go and buy it.
Right.
And that's exactly,
Yeah,
that's exactly right. So that is what I learned about the coal miner's daughter, Loretta Lynn.
Did she make Stand By Your Man too? Was that her?
No, that was Patsy Cline, I want to say.
I
want to say
sounds about right. I'm not big on the country. It's a sad genre. It is. Country music. And your dog dies, your truck stops. It's a lot of sorrow in the country.
But if you play the song backwards, your dog comes back to life. Your truck starts working.
All right.
Oh, you guys.
Stand by your man. Because anyway, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
Enough of me. Enough of me today.
No. Please.
No, I was saying Stand By Your Man becomes Stand By Me. I don't know. See, that's why I try to.
Which is a whole different music.
Right.
Darling, stand by me.
And a coming of age movie that apparently struck a nerve. Tammy Wynette.
Thank you. Country aficionado Karen E.
Thank you, Karen E. Wheeler. We appreciate that. Tammy
clearly she watched Hee Haw as a child.
Oh, goodness. This has been a lot of fun, guys. We're going to close out with Yogi's Jewels, our daily inspiration, in place of the moment from the OG. Just remember this. Maturity is not defined by chronological age, but how you respond to situations and circumstances. Maturity not defined by chronological age, but how you respond to situations and circumstances. Keep that in mind as we act like children, just laughing our butts off today.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate you all joining us today. Damon and Khameron, be safe out there, and we'll see you all soon. Aloha.
Thank you.